The Smile recently released their sophomore album Wall of Eyes, and on my first listen, I was quite confused, but my opinions have changed over the days. The Smile is composed by Radiohead members Tom York and Johnny Greenwood, with jazz drummer Tom Skinner. And throughout these two albums, it's clear that they're having fun, and it's a new dynamic. I think that's why they're so invigorating while doing The Smile, because the problem with Radiohead at the moment is that Tom and Johnny just can't play music or create music and just put it out as Radiohead. Radiohead can't just be any old album. It has to be perfect. There's even interviews mentioning this. But when it comes to The Smile, even if it's 80 or 90% finished, or it's not what everyone thinks has to be the perfect next album, they're okay with that because they're having fun and also making pretty good music. This album is infused with many genres. It's infused with post-rock, it's infused with krautrock, it's infused with jazz. That being said, this album is like a slow movie. You're debating if you should even finish the movie, but then like 10 or 20 minutes in the movie, you realize the plot thickens or there's a well-written scene and you're just captivated by the moment, and that's what happens in this album. The weakest song on this album is the first song, Wall of Eyes. It's slow with bossa nova-ish strumming. The vocals are a bit melodramatic, and honestly, it just doesn't move me at all. And when I mention slow, I mean the slow that you're hoping that a build-up will give you a rewarding climax or something like that, but there's no climax at all in this song, and you just kind of feel left empty, like you just didn't earn anything for listening to that song. And as mentioned in the example of the movie, this album blows you back in the second track. Telharmonic is possibly one of the best songs on this album. The synths used and the reverb on the vocals just give it this atmospheric, spacey vibe that I am just so for. Telharmonic was already highly anticipated because this song was in the season finale of Peaky Blinders. That show is amazing. If you haven't seen that show, please watch it. But I have to say, the new version of this song, there's just so much more depth involved. It's just completely better. For the following song, Read the Room, this has to be like the croutiest rock song on the album. And the guitar work, I can see a band like Can having this in some of their songs back in the day. It's such a banger. The guitar work is amazing. The bass line just makes you want to head bob throughout the whole song. I love this song so much. And as mentioned about the different genres in this album, you really hear the fluidity when you listen to the song Friend of a Friend, which has those classic piano buildups in the jazz dreamscape that you would hear in a song from the album Amnesiac. This song, in my opinion, is very important for this album because it adds kind of a twist to it. You know, you don't want to just keep playing krautrock style music or post-rock. This song really gives it the variety it needed. And while the album was already a pleasure to listen to with all of the other tracks, this album's highlight is the penultimate, Bending Hectic, which I believe is the longest song that The Smile has ever released, and even including Radiohead, I believe this is the longest song too. In my opinion, this is the best track on the album. There's like 3 different genres going on in the same track, and the build-up for this song, it might be one of the best songs with the build-up I've ever heard in my life. And when people mention eargasm, please tell them to listen to this song because that is the definition of eargasm. And while I've been talking so highly about this album, it comes to this point where I start having opinions and questioning why are things happening a certain way. Their last song, You Don't Know Me, doesn't give me that farewell goodbye the way that Bending Hectic does. So when it comes to the lows of this album, that's one of them. I believe that the track listing arrangement isn't done the right way. I believe that Wall of Eyes shouldn't be the first song because it's such a snooze fest and it makes people maybe turned off from this album if you're new to The Smile. And also for the ending, where I believe Bending Hectic should have been the last song. They could have ended this album with Bending Hectic and just it would have been so grandiose and it would have been like, okay, we're done. This is the best song in our discography. It might be nitpicky, but sometimes having the right track list is very important. I guess my only other issue with this album, because I don't have many, is that some of the tracks are just too slow and there's no reward involved. Usually when a song is slow, you hope for that build up, that climax. For example, the songs Wall of Eye and I Quit, I just find them to be way too slow, not rewarding. It doesn't build up enough. And yeah, I would just say those are probably the 2 least favorite songs of mine. And as much as I enjoy this album is very different from other albums. I mean, for example, there's only maybe 2 or 3 songs off of this album that I can listen to alone, but I feel like I'll be able to appreciate the songs and album the most if I listen to it throughout instead of listening to a song here and a song there. It's kind of that type of album. Now, when it comes to rating, I'll probably give this an 8 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10. I think those things that I've mentioned kind of bring this album down, especially because there aren't that many songs on this album, and the 2 tracks that are quite slow and I'm just not interested in, they kind of bring that score down for me. But regardless, this is an album that I'm gonna have to buy. I need the record as soon as possible. So what's your thoughts on this album? Do you love it? Is there specific things that you don't like? I'd love to hear your opinions down below. Subscribe and like if you enjoyed this video. What album should I review next? Follow me for more music content. This is HYPESAGE.